They were once the shining stars of Hollywood, icons of beauty, talent, and charisma. Their names lit up marquees, their faces graced magazine covers, and their presence commanded the world's attention. But fame, with all its glitter, is a double-edged sword. Time, scandal, and personal battles have a way of stripping away the glamour, revealing a far more fragile truth beneath. Today, we explore 12 celebrities whose transformations are as shocking as they are heartbreaking. Stories of rise, fall, and the relentless passage of time. Let's begin with Chevy Chase. In the late 1970s and early 80s, Chevy was the king of comedy. His physical humor was legendary. Those perfectly timed pratfalls and deadpan expressions made audiences roar with laughter. From Saturday Night Live to Caddyshack and National Lampoon's Vacation, Chevy was Hollywood's golden boy. Tall, handsome, effortlessly funny, he seemed destined for eternal stardom. But behind the scenes, the story was far less charming. His ego clashed with writers and castmates, and his off-color jokes created tension wherever he went. His abrupt departure from SNL left a trail of burned bridges, and a notorious backstage fight with Bill Murray cast a long shadow over his career. Years later, on the set of Community, Chevy had a chance to reclaim his place in the spotlight. Instead, old habits resurfaced, biting remarks, crossing lines, and an indifferent attitude that alienated even the most patient colleagues. What could have been a triumphant comeback turned into a cautionary tale. As his reputation faded, so did his vitality. The once spry physical comedian now moves slowly, his face swollen, his voice roughened by time. The sparkle in his eyes has dimmed, replaced by the weariness of a man who has seen too much. Yet, Chevy remains defiant, telling an interviewer, "I am who I am, and I like who I am." It's a statement that feels both like armor and a quiet confession. Now in his early 80s, Chevy lives a quieter life in upstate New York, occasionally appearing at fan conventions. The only fall he never controlled was his own. Next, we turn to Marlon Brando, a titan of cinema whose story is as tragic as it is legendary. In the 1950s, Brando wasn't just an actor, he was a revolution. His raw, untamed performances in A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront shattered conventions, bringing a new messy realism to the screen. Women were captivated, men envied him, and Hollywood bowed to his genius. But brilliance often comes at a price. By the time The Godfather resurrected his career in the 1970s, Brando's body was betraying him. Overweight, exhausted, and marked by excess, he arrived on the set of Apocalypse now unprepared and demanding exorbitant pay for minimal work. The filmmakers had to shoot him in shadows to mask his decline. His eccentricities only grew. On the set of The Island of Dr. Moreau, he wore a bucket of ice on his head and insisted on a miniature double dressed like himself. Directors feared him, producers tolerated him, and co-stars avoided him. Off-camera, tragedy struck relentlessly. His son went to prison, his daughter took her own life. Brando retreated to his private island in Tahiti, surrounded by memories and ghosts. He ballooned to nearly 400 pounds, rarely left home, and lived in nocturnal solitude. Yet even in his decline, his presence was hypnotic. His voice still thundered with authority, his eyes still held the fire of the man who changed cinema forever. When he died in 2004 at 80, he left behind a broken body but an immortal legacy. Marlon Brando's life is a stark reminder of the price of genius without restraint. Madonna's story is one of relentless reinvention and fierce determination. For over 4 decades, she has been the queen of pop, a provocateur who rewrote the rules of music and performance. From her rebellious beginnings in Detroit to global superstardom, Madonna commanded the stage with fearless authority. But time is a relentless opponent. Now 67, she lives in a lavish mansion surrounded by mirrors, seemingly convinced she can defy aging through sheer will and cosmetic surgery. Her face is tight and smooth but strangely expressionless, whispering a silent plea, "I will not disappear." The same woman who once shocked the Vatican now surprises fans with awkward TikTok dances and bizarre poses that blur the line between bold and unsettling. On stage, the lights still find her, but her body no longer moves with the same grace. Behind the dark glasses and lace gloves, there's a desperate struggle to maintain the illusion of eternal youth. The tragedy here isn't vanity, it's lost opportunity. Madonna could have redefined aging for women in the spotlight, turning wrinkles into a statement and maturity into a crown. Instead, she risks becoming a caricature of her former self. Beneath the latex and flashing lights, what emerges is not arrogance but fear. The fear of fading away in a culture that discards the old. And in the end, that fear ages her far more than time ever could. Val Kilmer was once Hollywood's enigmatic heartthrob. In the 1980s and 90s, he was everywhere, from Top Gun to The Doors to Batman Forever. With his chiseled jaw and brooding intensity, Kilmer was magnetic and unpredictable. But his brilliance came with a price. On set, he was known for clashing with directors, disappearing without warning, and retreating into himself for days. Joel Schumacher called him difficult, and Tommy Lee Jones bluntly told him, "I can't sanction your buffoonery." Kilmer's talent was undeniable, but his volatility was a curse. Then came the devastating blow, cancer. It scarred his body and stole his voice, forcing him to communicate through an electronic device. The once perfect jaw now moves with effort, and the man who embodied Jim Morrison speaks mostly with his eyes. Yet in this fall, there is grace. Unlike many who hide behind denial or cosmetic illusions, Kilmer chose to reveal his truth. His intimate documentary, made from decades of personal footage, shows a man laughing, grieving, and remembering without masks. The stone idol became human. His vulnerability redeems him. When illness silenced him, Kilmer found something fame never gave him: peace. He no longer chases stardom or perfection. His scarred face radiates calm and acceptance. His aging is not tragic, it is honest, painful, and profoundly human. Steven Seagal was once synonymous with real martial arts mastery. The calm, ponytailed Aikido expert brought a new kind of action hero to the screen with Under Siege. His icy stare and swift precision made him a force to be reckoned with. But time has a way of unraveling even the strongest myths. His muscles softened, his lightning speed faded, and his commanding voice became a tired murmur. Now 73, Seagal often seems like a parody of his former self, dressed in black, wearing tinted glasses, moving stiffly through life. Viral clips of him demonstrating Aikido moves while assistants dramatically fall have become memes. Behind the laughter, darker shadows linger. Accusations of misconduct from several actresses have stained his reputation permanently. Once a red carpet fixture, Seagal has traded Hollywood for Moscow. His friendship with Vladimir Putin, Russian citizenship, and outspoken political views have transformed him from an American action icon into a strange symbol of propaganda. He still appears in low-budget films, but the fights are choreographed for others. Titles like End of a Gun and Contract to Kill now sound like epitaphs for a career that fought too hard against time. His dyed hair, painted beard, and identical outfits are armor against irrelevance, a costume protecting the illusion of the indestructible warrior he once was. Lindsay Lohan was once America's sweetheart. At just 17, she was the golden girl of a new Hollywood, funny, radiant, effortlessly charming. In Freaky Friday and Mean Girls, she wasn't acting, she was the teenage dream everyone adored. Hollywood crowned her the next Julia Roberts, and Lindsay believed the love would last forever. But fairy tales fade faster than fame allows. The cameras that once adored her soon devoured her. Paparazzi chased her through endless nights of flashing lights, fast cars, and faster parties. Too young to understand the cost, she spiraled into DUIs, mugshots, broken friendships, and rehab stints. The freckles that once made her look angelic were replaced by exhaustion far beyond her years. What addiction, ruined surgery, and fillers couldn't fix, time and distance began to heal. Hollywood moved on without her, but Lindsay didn't vanish. She left Los Angeles for Dubai, built a quiet life far from the tabloids, and started piecing herself back together. Now 39, she's a mother and wife living a world away from the chaos that nearly destroyed her. In 2022, she made a quiet but hopeful comeback with Netflix films like Falling for Christmas, reminding fans that beneath the scars, the spark still flickers. Her beauty may have changed, her fame may have dimmed, but her survival tells a deeper story, the story of a woman who lived through the full Hollywood cycle, the rise, the fall, and the rarest ending of all, redemption. Though her face bears the marks of every mistake, her eyes, calmer now, carry something stronger than innocence ever did: resilience. Nick Nolte was once the embodiment of rugged masculinity. In the 70s and 80s, he was the modern cowboy, the wounded poet hiding behind a tough jawline. From the Prince of Tides to Down and Out in Beverly Hills, every role proved that masculinity could have soul. In 1992, People magazine crowned him the sexiest man alive. Today, that headline feels like a cruel joke played by time. Years later, the image is starkly different. Nolte stepping out of his Malibu home, shirt half-buttoned, wild white hair, eyes lost in a maze of wrinkles. The same face that once made hearts race now looks carved by storms. His fall wasn't just physical, it was chemical. Decades of alcohol and drug abuse turned him into a ghost of himself. In 2002, a single mugshot, disheveled hair, vacant stare, Hawaiian shirt, went viral before viral was even a word. The sex symbol had become a symbol of collapse. But behind that infamous photo was a broken man still fighting. Nolte later admitted to a near-fatal addiction to GHB, calling it a chemical hell. Sobriety came, but not without scars. His recovery saved his life but cost him his youth. Now 83, Nolte looks like a character straight out of a Cormac McCarthy novel, weathered bent, yet strangely wise. He walks with a stoop, speaks in a gravelly whisper, and carries a calm that only pain can teach. He rarely acts anymore, but when he does, the room falls silent. People no longer see a fallen star, they see a survivor. Nick Nolte didn't age badly. He aged honestly. Here's a question for you. When you see these transformations, do you think fame accelerates the toll of aging, or does it simply expose the vulnerabilities we all face? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know what you think. Thank you for watching. If these stories moved you, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the lives behind the spotlight. Until then, remember, every star shines brightest before the fall, but it's the fall that reveals the true light within.